because now I'm going to talk about a review. As I do with every game that I sort of completed, I do want to spend a few minutes of time and stuff like that to talk about the game, as I've played it, as I've experienced it, and give my sort of thoughts on it. So, let's talk about Clair Obscur. And I'm going to try to summarize the story as best as I can in this sort of opening sort of topic, just so, from my understanding. So, there exists a world outside of our painted worlds. The painted worlds are a creation by a group of people called painters. 45 years prior to the events of the fracture, which happened inside this painted world, the painters were attacked by the writers, and caused a fire in the mansion. The fire resulted in Alicia getting deformed, burned, and scarred, emotionally and physically, and resulted in the death of her brother, Verso. This plunged the family into a dark time. The sister, Clair, wanted to get revenge on the writers for what occurred to the family. Her father and her mother were lost. The mother created and maintained this painted world that contained the remnants of Verso's soul, and her mother spent too much time here. This caused the father to enter the painted world, leading to the events of inside the painted world called the Fracture, where it nearly destroyed it. The father, also known as the Curator, tried to destroy the world inside the painted world, but the mother wanted to save it. She created the Paintress figure as a way to warn people, not a way of killing people, a way to warn them that every year people were going to die, and there was nothing she could really do to prevent it except for the stall tactic. Back inside the regular world, Clair was getting frustrated at her sister, Alicia, and her father and mother for being inside this canvas, this painted world, for too long, and asked Alicia to do something about it, as she was a painter herself. When Alicia entered the painted world, she got overwhelmed by her mother's magic, or mana. It's called chroma in this game, but it's essentially her mana. And got reincarnated as a character within the world, Mael. Which leads us to the events at the beginning of the game. You take hold of a character called Gustav, and you and your other expeditioners go to try to stop the Paintress, which people thought was the one causing the deaths. Along the way, we develop relationships with Ciel, with Lune, Mael herself, Minoko, Esquier. We also discover that Minoko and Novoko are actually not only just characters inside the painting, the gestrels, but they're also the name of Verso's pets, which is why they were named such. And like I said, this is his world that he created. Yada yada yada. after the events, well, at which point, I guess, at some point, a in-figure version of the caretaker, the father, called Renoir, existed to try to help the paintress stop the expeditioners from killing her. And succeeded until the current expedition, 33, where Maëlle and the rest of the gang defeated Renoir, defeated the paintress, upon revealing that the paintress is actually the mother, and banished her from the painting. Now, without the mother trying to contest anything, the father or the caretaker, wiped out everyone living in the canvas. However, upon doing so, Maëlle awakened to her true memories as a paintress, reconstituted, and used her powers to bring her companions back to life. They then surmounted a final assault to try to stop the father from destroying the painted world, inevitably succeeding. In my version of the playthrough, Verso saw what was becoming to her mother, who was being killed somehow through the actions of being in this world. And Verso, being a copy of the brother, wanted Maëlle to go back to the real world. So he took it upon himself to go to the heart of the canvas and stop it. Stop his canvas self. Thus, destroying the world, I guess? It's sort of a little vague at that point. So that's the story, to my knowledge. That's the summary of it. Not really the gameplay elements that we sort of talked about and stuff like that, but that's the overarching story in 8 minutes. Or in under 10, I should say. It's a very interesting story. Very... I would say it's a very matured story, but not a really well-developed one. Essentially, this was one family's trauma, the game. But there are still plenty of doors that are left open, and God knows if we're ever going to get answers to them. But who are the writers and painters? What's the real world like? The father talked about how the mother and himself painted so many worlds, so many canvases. But are those canvases real worlds? Like, are they opening up dimensions, going to these things, or are these things entirely fabricated and none of it's real? Yeah, it is family drama. Like Star Wars. Yeah, pretty much like Star Wars. One thing led to another, and then suddenly there's a Death Star. But the thing about the game is that, yeah, we learn near the end that none of this is real. Or we don't know if it is real, because the concept of what a canvassed world is left undefined. Who the writers were and the sister, no idea. I've collected the majority of journals, and I certainly have not done all the content. So maybe there are answers somewhere that could explain some of that. But none that I could find. None that's accessible for a person doing a fairly... Like, we did a lot of the side content. We didn't do everything. We did it until I got bored, which is still like 35 hours worth of content. And sure, I probably could play up to 50 hours and probably finish all of the content, but I still don't think I'd get all the answers. I'd just get more gameplay. So, the story, while mature, has a problem where it leaves too many questions unanswered that may or may not exist. The studio behind this was relatively new, relatively small. I think had a single writer, if I remember reading something on Twitter. I could be wrong about that. But what does that mean for the universe? The world that they've built here is fantastic, but also doesn't matter. Because it's fake. It's a fake world. And we know nothing of the real world. So I'm conflicted about how I feel about the story. As soon as I found out that it's all fake, like, it would have been better if they were just like space beings and they seeded this world. Then at least you could go, yeah, these people are real. And sure, they had a god create them and stuff like that. But like, without knowing if this counts as a real world, then we only know that the outside world of the canvases is the real world. And this is more of a dream sequence, which is very unappealing to me personally. I hate dream sequences. Oh, well, nothing else mattered. I don't like it. It sucks. Lycan and I have played a game where it's just a dream sequence. And it sucks. Yeah, it's an Inception. Is the other world even a real world at that point? Or is that just a painted world that they use to keep their family? And there's another world after that. That's the thing. There's no information about that. Nothing that I can look for. But, like, there may be hints and scraps. So, the plot's okay. As a result of my biased opinion on... Well, none of this matters. None of the characters are real. They're all fabricated. Yeah, I am talking about the one with the witch hunt. The Dark Series anthology one, Lycan. So, moving away from the plot, let's talk about the gameplay. I'll preface this, I should say. I am not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs. I find that the combat gets monotonous, it's too slow, and it's not engaging enough for myself. I prefer active RPGs or hack and slashes type thing. Or a lot of things, just not turn-based. However, this game has done a good job giving the players options to sort of make it seem like they're engaging more. The parry system, the dodge system, the gradient counters, the QTEs for skills, which, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I like the QTE for skills, but it's there, right? Like, all of these active button presses and inputs requiring you to, like, play the game makes it so that I actually fairly enjoyed this combat system. And while I have my own gripes with it, being the staleness that it sometimes resulted in, right? Like, there was no reason after a certain point to grind, because you just weren't going to get anything. Or it didn't seem like to matter. Either you rolled over an enemy, or you got absolutely obliterated. Near the end game, I should say. Everything else was well balanced until pretty much the Act 3. Act 3 was pretty much try to get as powerful as you can before the last sequence. I know you can make that argument for all of further acts, but that's just how it felt, right? Everything else felt balanced, fair, enjoyable. but the end, it felt like I was just trying to get through it. Unfortunate. The characters themselves, I love their gimmicks. Again, just more of that active participation when it comes to like RPGs, turn-based RPGs, I should say. Thinking about each character's how to upgrade their skills, how to use them effectively during combat. Fantastic. But the attributes, the weapons, yeah, pretty much those two things. They were fairly weak. You had your... One second, let me open up a screen here. So, you can see on the left side, right side of the screen, there's attributes. Vitality, might, agility, defense, and luck. You can see how I've necessarily made Verso here for the ending of the sequence. And the entire idea is that, you know, it's sort of there, it's sort of nice, but you can see that there's little, like, sword icons by certain stats. That means that what you should level up coincides with what weapon you are using or plan to use near the end. And there are so many weapon varieties that all have different skills and stuff like that, that I feel like it's too much. It's too many mechanics. Give me weapons with elements, with power stats and stuff like that, and give me traditional, with no scaling. And just give me attributes. So that if I want to do an all might, all crit, then I could do that. You have a question? Go ahead, Lycan. And look at all these weapons. And they all do different things, and some of them are not good, and some of them are good. And that's... But every character, are abilities unlocked by one weapon and then become more powerful if used by another? No. The abilities of some weapons, like if you take a look at Confuso here, you can see when the weapon's level is 4, light damage can burn on critical hits. When it's level 10, apply 3 burn, etc. And then you can also see the power of the weapon, which is its raw damage, its element type, which what is that as a symbol? And then it's things that it scales off of, agility and luck. But how would I have known how to build my character unless if I already knew that I wanted Litoso as my ending weapon, and then I could have just upgraded it. Like, it's too many things. The skill system was fine. I liked it. I like the idea that they have action points. I think it's a better system than mana. Whatever. And then there are Pictos, which are stat boosting things that give you a passive. And then just passives. And it's so many small pieces that made it very tedious. It just made it tedious. Every character had to be built differently. And because XP doesn't go 100% to every party member, you had to build up every party member in case you got into a situation where, which we did, the party got split up and you had to fight separate guys. Didn't happen often, but it still existed and justified my need to level everyone up. Also, there was a mechanic that if your party wiped, you could send in the other 2 members. But that seems weird. And the only reason it seems weird is because you started off with 3 and then you went down to 2. It sort of would have made more sense if you had a 3rd companion on the trip, and so you have a team of 3 and then your backup team of 3. That's my thoughts on that. But the skill tree was fine. Standard skill tree made sense. Didn't unlock everything. But like the weapon mechanics, the Pictos, the Luminas, like it's a little much. It's a little much. I got it. I understood it near the end. I also knew that, like, I got upgrade materials for my weapons and stuff like that. But I never knew if it was worth using it, because I never know what weapon was going to exist with a better passive or a better skill. Near the end of the game, I'm just like, okay, I'll put these guys to 20 because I think they'll be better. And then, like, doing some optional side content, I got better weapons. And I just went with them as long as they didn't have crappy skills or skills that I deemed detrimental. And that's another, well, so, and then there's the journal system. Journal system where you got a little bit extra world building information and stuff like that. Perfect. Love it. Optional content in the side, voiced, so I didn't have to read it all out loud, I should say. That gave you information about what happened to the other expeditions, about the events that happened to the world after the fracture took place. System was fine. Elixir system, it's okay. Nothing really remarkable about it. We have a party heal, which seems... I'm not sure if I would have had a party heal and just, like, made... because the amount of heals that you get, the amount of resources, the flasks, a lot. And the flags were fairly often that would recharge them. So I feel like rather than a party heal one, just individual potions across the characters to heal them or something like that, I think would have been better. And then there was also quest items. Some of them I still don't know what they do. But the one thing that I disliked the most was the Color of Lumina's upgrades. The things that gave you passives, or increase your passive cap. It just sucked. All the rewards from exploring were essentially Colors of Lumina. Which... you don't want it to be something good, so you gathered it anyway. But man, when everything was a Color of Lumina, it just didn't feel great. And here, look at this this screen here, where I still have another 22 that I didn't even bother putting on different characters. I have 13 of these upgrade materials, 43 of these, and 34 of these. And then the Respondent 135s and the recoats for respecs. I understand respecking would probably be a good idea. Once you understood how your character should have been built. What is a mechanic in this game that I really like? I like the Picto system. I really do like the Picto system, where it gives you the sort of stats to put on top of your character, and then also gave you a passive that did things. I really like that. It was really cool. And then as you used it, sort of like of some of the older school Final Fantasy games, maybe 8, if you used it 4 times in a battle, just having it equipped, I should say, not use it, then you had the ability to unlock its passive to other characters. You're thinking 9? It could be 9. I mean, even 7 had the same mechanic with the materias, right? But I really enjoyed that system. I like the fact that you could build your characters up like that. But man, look how many Pictos that we had. Look how fucking many the game gave us. And there's still more. And the ones that are colored are the ones that I've unlocked so that all my characters can use them. Like, Healing Stun, I never unlocked and stuff like that. Gradient Fighter, didn't finish it yet. But it just required so much menuing. And then switching, and just like, hey, Energizing Start. Energizing Start 4 gives you more health than Energizing 3. But the passive's the same, but this passive costs more to equip. And I guess it's for the purposes of stacking, but like a little much. A little too many variety. I like variety, but when it becomes tedious to manage and navigate through menus, then it's a little tedious. We're gonna snooze that ad break here. Come on. Back to this. So, other than that, gameplay elements was fine. A world that opens up more as you progress and unlock abilities. I still didn't finish all of the abilities, I guess. But standard. I like it. Not a huge fan of how long it took to backtrack. I wish there was a checkpoint on the main menu that allowed you to go get to this area, get to this area, get to this area, rather than traveling back. It made it a little bit tedious as I sort of went around to try to figure out what zones I have progressed enough to actually complete in versus the not. Other than that, though, world was beautiful. Variety of different zones, all sort of unique, and best of all, this game is aesthetically beautiful. And has an amazing soundtrack. People that play games with me and stuff like that know that I generally don't, when I'm grinding and stuff like that, I generally don't play with in-game audio. I generally listen to my own sort of music and stuff. But this game's audio was amazing. And the aesthetics of it, the art style, great. Absolutely wonderful. Fantastic. And everything was fine, and technically speaking, like in sort of a technical implementation of this game. I'm playing this on medium settings. I can't imagine what my computer can't handle it, but I can't imagine what higher settings would look like fidelity-wise. And except for a handful of incidents, the game was stable. It ran fantastically. Which definitely... It's nice. I'm gonna throw some shade out to the Unity Engine 5. Or Unreal Engine, sorry. Unreal Engine 5, my mistake. On how terribly optimized those games are that uses that engine. From my understanding, it's a specific version of Unreal Engine 5, but like Monster Hunter Wilds, terrible optimization for PC. What other games have I played recently? Wait, what did I play? Shadow of... No, they haven't fixed the optimization of that yet. They've not even addressed it. Like, all their patch notes and stuff like that have had zero mention of trying to address it and fix it. The issue is there isn't really anything you could do with the game. It's not the game, it's the engine. They have to upgrade the engine, or have to wait for a version of the engine to come out so that they can upgrade it. So games that use that version of the engine have terrible PC performance. Also, it's a new version of the game. Sorry, a new version of the engine. Developers aren't necessarily used to it, don't know how to optimize things. So you have to download mods to fix it. But that's not. We're not talking about those games. We're talking about this game. And how beautiful it was, and how well it ran at 60 frames. Let's see what we talked about. I summarized the story. I talked about the gameplay, the graphics, the world. The questing system. Is there really a questing system? I guess one thing bad about the questing system. You don't know what quests you've picked up. I don't know how I remembered. Like, oh, I should go back to this area because now I've done this and completed that. Don't know how I remember that because there's just nothing that tells me that. There's like this journal system, but this journal system is not the right kind of journal for the game. But that's a really minor detail. It matters a lot in terms of RPG-ness. But heck, like a lot of other games don't do that. Monster Hunter doesn't. No, Monster Hunter does. Elden Ring doesn't. Like, you either had to play with a guide, which I really dislike that. You have a game recommendation for me. Okay. Okay. So Lost in Random. I'll take a look at that after stream. So let's try to give this game a score. So 10 being a perfect game. 1 being couldn't finish it, absolute dog crap. 5 being an average game. I'd probably give this an 8. This is probably an 8 for me. It's a well above average game that's polished, that has a few things, very few things, that sort of make it not a 10. It's not perfect. Not for me, anyway. Yeah, I would say an 8 out of 10 for me. Is what I would say this game. I am always very critical of games. Could this still be Game of the Year for me? It could be. This was a very good game. I enjoyed it. It was such a game that I enjoyed that I started a YouTube channel and uploaded my VODs so that I could share my playthrough, because I thought that this would be a great game to start a YouTube channel with. And I believe that it's great. 8 out of 10 game. I think that's a very fair representation of the game. Would I play this game in another playthrough? No. Not a regular playthrough, at least. With the way the game is sort of built, I would do things such as like a challenge runs, single player challenge runs, or no Lumina points, no passives, just Pictos. No, I don't know how you do a level 1 run, because your weapons would automatically level. Your Pictos automatically level. So, and you'd also get XP, so maybe there's a mod to force things at level 1 if you were to do that. I probably wouldn't do level 1. Some of the other areas, you just would have to play perfectly and parry. Because basic attacks wouldn't do anything and stuff like that. So, but it's possible. But in a traditional playthrough, I finished the story. When I finish the story of the game, I don't like to replay them. Um, Especially on a JRPG where things are a little bit slow. Uh, but I am very happy to have played this game. But, okay. Let's talk about what we're going to play next. I have 2 games currently downloaded for what I was planning on playing next. Dragon's Dogma. Uh, yeah, that's true. That is a game on the docket, but not of the 2 that I have downloaded. They're very different types of games. You just want to make a girl character and watch the boobs sway. So, and I'll put a vote on Discord, because I feel like, why the hell not? See whether or not some people want to see some things versus another. It's illegal. So I have Space Marine 2. Very different style of game. Very different style of game than what we just wrapped up. But it's there. I enjoyed the first one. I could enjoy the second one. Apparently the second one's pretty good. It also has like horde mode and stuff like that, but yeah, I picked one out of left field, right? And then the other game that I picked up that is more my usual style is Black Myth Wukong. It went on sale last week, so I picked it up. Which is a Chinese mythology, a Souls-like game. Which is something that I enjoy. I like challenging fights, harder sequences. Have you seen you play the fuck out of Souls games? But it's not the same Souls game. But yeah, so I'll post something in Discord. Those are the 2 games I have downloaded. It's not necessarily mean that those are the ones I'm gonna play. You're gonna memorize this one too? What? I could always do randomizer runs for Elden Ring. I've downloaded randomizers, I've run it. Could do runs, speed runs, of randomized things of Elden Ring. I guess that's the end of the series. So, for my YouTube audience, thank you for watching this video. Making it through the review. Hope you enjoyed this one as the first playthrough of the channel. Make sure to, or I would love if you could hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and use the links in the description below to go to my Twitch, watch me play it live, converse with me, have fun. I hope everyone's had a good week so far, a fantastic Wednesday. I'm going to see you guys Friday. Take care. Have a nice day.